Savitri is waking up in the early morning. And we read last time how when she first began to wake up, there's no pain. The body is, and the life are obtuse and tranquil, like the stone and star. But then a slow, faint remembrance, shadow-like, moved, and sighing, she laid her hand upon her bosom and recognized the close and lingering ache, deep, quiet, old, made natural to its place, but knew not why it was there, nor whence it came. So I'll read on from there. The power that kindles mind was still withdrawn. Heavy, unwilling were life's servitors, like workers with no wages of delight. Sullen, the torch of sense refused to burn. The unassisted brain found not its past. Only a vague earth nature held the frame. But now she stirred. Her life shared the cosmic load. At the summons of her body's voiceless call, her strong, far-winging spirit traveled back to the yoke of ignorance and fate, back to the labor and stress of mortal days, lighting a pathway through strange symbol dreams across the ebbing of the seas of sleep. Her house of nature felt an unseen sway, illumined swiftly were life's darkened rooms, and memory's casements opened on the hours, and the tired feet of thought approached her doors. All came back to her, earth and love and doom, the ancient disputants, encircled her like giant figures wrestling in the night. The Godheads from the dim, inconscient born awoke to struggle and the pang divine. And in the shadow of her flaming heart, at the somber center of the dire debate, a guardian of the unconsoled abyss, inheriting the long agony of the globe, a stone-still figure of high and godlike pain, stared into space with fixed, regardless eyes that saw grief's timeless depths, but not life's goal. Afflicted by his harsh divinity, bound to his throne, he waited unappeased the daily oblation of her unwept tears. all the fierce question of man's hours relived. The sacrifice of suffering and desire earth offers to the immortal ecstasy began again beneath the eternal hand. Awake, she endured the moment's serried march, and looked on this green, smiling, dangerous world, and heard the ignorant cry of living things. Amid the trivial sounds, the unchanging scene, her soul arose, confronting time and fate. Immobile in herself, she gathered force. This was the day when Shraddhavan must die. Which way are we going? This way? Martin, you will start.
Oh, yet Kindle's mind was still withdrawn, heavy, unwilling, were life's servitors, like workers with no wages of delight, sullen, the torch of sense refused to burn. The unassisted brain found not its path. Only a vague of nature held the frame.
So this is a second stage of the waking up process. First, the life in Savitri is inert, released into forgetfulness. There's no memory. And she doesn't remember anything of the sorrow here. But then this slow, faint remembrance moves, and she feels the pain, but she's not yet remembering why it is there. That's because the power that kindles mind was still withdrawn. We've had this word kindles several times. Somebody can tell me what it means? To kindle?
Start a fire.
Yes. So a fire is an energy. So there's a power that lights that fire which moves mind, which sets mind going. That power is still withdrawn. It hasn't come yet. And life's servitors are heavy and unwilling. They don't want to wake up. The workers, the servants, they have to wake up in the early morning, but these are unwilling workers. They are workers with no wages of delight. They don't feel delight in their work. Sullen, the torch of sense refused to burn. Our senses, which tell us what's going on in the world around us. Part of waking up is becoming aware of the environment through the senses. But they also need some energy. They need to burn like a fire, like a torch lighting up the darkness. And the brain, it's not assisted by that power of consciousness, so it doesn't remember, it doesn't find its past. doesn't know where she is and what is happening. So her body, her frame, is just held by a vague earth nature, that earth nature that keeps us all alive, without the individual consciousness has not woken up yet. Andras?
But now she stirred, her life shared the cosmic globe. At the summons of her body's voiceless call, her strong, far-winging spirit traveled back to the yoke of ignorance and fate, back to the labor and stress of mortal days. Lightning and pathway through strange symbol dreams, across the ebbing of the seas of sleep.
Yes. She moves a little bit. She participates in the universal life. Her life shared the cosmic load. And as soon as she makes that movement, that's like a message to her spirit, her consciousness, which has been far away. Now it comes flying back like a bird. It hears that call of the body. The body doesn't make a sound, but just that little movement is like a call to the spirit to make it come back. It has to come. It's been flying far away, but now it travels back. And what does it travel back to? To all this pain, back to this yoke, this thing that she has to carry, this labor, load, the yoke of ignorance and fate, the yoke that all human beings are carrying. Back to the labor and stress of mortal days. That's so different to the spirit's experience of freedom, of being able to move everywhere, be conscious of everything. But when the spirit comes back to the body, it has to take on this mortal load. But as it comes back, it's lighting a pathway through strange symbol dreams. You might have noticed this process when you're waking up. That the body might make a little movement and you begin to wake up, and then there's some remembrance of dreams. You may even have a dream of a journey. I remember a period of my life when every morning when I woke up, I had to travel up a hill. And there were even places where I stopped on the way. But always it was this same hill to get back to the mortal days. So when the spirit comes flying back, then her house of nature, her body, feels the control, the rule, the sway. A king holds sway over his kingdom. Her house of nature felt that unseen sway. The house of nature is all the instruments of the body. And so all those dark rooms that have been, the lights have been switched off all night, now all the lights go on, illumined swiftly where life's darkened rooms. We become conscious of the different parts of the body and the consciousness. and memory's casements opened on the hours. Casements are windows. So when the house wakes up and the lights go on inside the house, and then the next thing is you open the windows, you see what is outside the house. So these memories, these windows of memories, remember time, the passage of time. And thought comes back to her. Tired feet of thought. Because these are not happy thoughts that come.
This line 311, what does he mean by symbol dreams?
Yeah, dreams often are symbolic, not always.
No, when she's already awakened and her consciousness is coming back to the body.
Yes, so as it comes, it lights up this pathway of dreams, of symbol dreams. These dreams are symbolic dreams. They are symbolic of situations, things that she has to do. Many dreams are symbolic in one way or another. He doesn't specify here what kind of dreams they were. But this is the consciousness coming back. Across the ebbing of the seas of sleep. As if sea is the sleep is an ocean which comes and covers you up. And then when you wake up, that sea moves further away. Here in the Bay of Bengal, we don't have very, very high tides, no. But there are places where it comes very high and moves very far away. Ebbing, that's specifically used of this moving away of the sea, of the tide, because of the attraction of the moon. The ocean moves up and down again. Ebb tide is the lowest tide, and high tide is the highest one. So if they are seas of sleep, she's been submerged in that ocean of sleep. Now the ocean is flowing away as she wakes up. Yes.
I have a question about line 308.
Yes.
308. It's about the word spirit.
Yes.
Savitri is traveling back and back to the yoke in line 309, to the yoke of ignorance and fate.
Yes.
And I should have expected Sri Aurobindo was using the word mind here and not spirit.
Yes. But I think
that's my question.
I think that spirit is the power that kindles mind. I think. Who's next? Supu.
Her house of nature felt an unseen sway, illumined swiftly by life's darkened room, and memories casements open on the hour, and the tried feet of thought approached her doors. All came back to her, ebb and loud and blue. The ancient distribution encircled her. Like a giant figure rustling in the night, the goddess from the dim, inconscient world awoke to struggle and the pang divine, and in the shadow of her flaming heart, at the somber center of the dire debate, a garden of the unclosed, unconsoled abyss, inheriting the long agony of the global. A stone still figure of high and godlike pain stared into space with fixed, regardless eyes. That's why grief, timeless, death, but not life, goal.
Yes. So I think I explained this about her house of nature, no? The body feels the rule of the spirit, of the consciousness. So all the lights go on, and then the next thing that happens is that the servants open the windows, no? Memories, casements opened on the hours, and now mind wakes up, the brain wakes up, the tired feet of thought approached her doors. So now she remembers everything, remembers and feels everything. Her problem is earth and love and doom. She's come to earth to uplift human beings, to move evolution forward. Her mission is carried out through her love for Shraddhavan, the soul. And Shraddhavan is doomed. He's doomed to die. So these three principles, earth and love and doom, it's as if they are all contradictory. They are disputants. They are arguing among themselves. And they are circling around her and wrestling between them. They're like giant figures wrestling in the night, each one trying to be stronger than the others. These are, each of them in a way, these are Godheads, divine powers that have been born from the dim, inconscient earth, even love and doom. They've been that we suffer these things because we have emerged from the inconscient. And as Savitri wakes up, they also wake up to this struggle in her consciousness. And this divine pain, this pain of love. Her heart is full of passion and intensity, flaming, burning, with so much intense energy. But it's as if there's a shadow behind the heart. At the somber center of this dire debate, this wrestling that's going on, what will prevail? Earth, matter, death, love, fate? Which of these is stronger? There's a terrible debate going on. No? And right at the center of that debate, deep, deep behind the heart, there's this stone still figure of high and godlike pain. He looks like a god, like a carved god staring out into space. His eyes don't move, they're fixed, and they don't see properly. They are regardless. They do see grief's timeless depths, they look into all the suffering there has ever been in this universe since the beginning. But what he doesn't see is the future. He doesn't see where all this is leading. He doesn't see what is the goal of life.
I thought that Sri Aurobindo believed that love is not part of inconscient, it's part of the divine consciousness.
It comes from the divine consciousness, but in this case it's accepted a human birth and it's born from...
Terrestrial love is talking.
Yes. The terrestrial love and the divine love are actually both one. Earthly love is an expression of divine love, but it has to combat the conditions of the inconscient material world. It says that this figure is a guardian. His job is to guard, to protect the unconsoled abyss, the deep, dark hole which cannot be comforted. He's inheriting all this long agony, all the suffering there has ever been on earth. It's as if he's protecting and holding on to that. He's a guardian of all that agony. He won't let it be forgotten or set aside. Who is next? Is it you, Narendra? Yes.
Afflicted by his harsh divinity, bound to his throne, he waited unappeased. The daily oblation of unwept tears.
You know what is an oblation?
When somebody dies,
Well, it's any kind of offering, an offering to the divine. No? So he is suffering this figure of godlike pain. He's afflicted, he's suffering by this harsh divinity that he is. And he's tied to his throne. He's not allowed to escape this role that he's playing. But he's demanding, every day he's been demanding from Savitri this daily offering of all the tears which she's not weeping. She's not showing to anybody. She's not expressing her grief in the form of tears and weeping. It's all held there in the depths of her heart. And every day she's making that sacrifice, that offering to this figure of high and godlike pain. And he's never satisfied. You can make an offering to a divinity in order to appease them, to satisfy them, so that they show you mercy and grace. But he's not appeased. Janaka, would you read?
Only feels the question of man's hours relieved. The sacrifice of suffering and the desire as of us to the immortal ecstasy began again beneath the eternal hand.
Yes. All the fierce question of man's hours relived. What is that question? Why? Yes. Why are we here? Why is it like this? Why does it have to be like this? Why is there all this suffering, fate, love? all these contradictions. All that lives again in Savitri's consciousness. And it is daytime, the new day is starting, so this sacrifice which earth offers every day to the immortal ecstasy, to the supreme ananda, all this experience is offered by earth to that supreme ananda that began again. And it's beneath the eternal hand. There's a hand of blessing and protection and of consent, I think. It's saying, yes, it has to be like this. It all began again. I think Sri Aurobindo makes us feel the poignancy of the human condition so intensely in these lines.
It looks like there is this God-like pain, and he must add every day only this pain, no? This is why we are doing the sacrifice every day.
Yeah, even feeding it.
Feeding it, yeah.
Yes. Chandra.
Like she entered the woman's needed march and looked on this green, smiling, dangerous world and thought the ignorant cry of living things, and amid the treble sounds, the enchanting scene. Her soul arose, confronting hand to fate. Immobile in herself, she gathered force. This was the day when Satyavan was dead.
Yes. So now Savitri is fully awake and it's painful. She has to endure the forward movement of time, the moment's serried march. Serried is not quite the same as serried. If there were only one R, then we could say serried. It goes in a series. Serried means the moments are packed very closely together. There's no space between them. So the moments go marching on with no space between them. She looks out on this green, smiling world, but she's also aware of the danger of this world. Sri Aurobindo also calls it this perilous world. This green, smiling, beautiful, dangerous world. And she hears all those birds and animals that are waking up in the morning and acclaiming their portion of ephemeral joy, expressing their delight. It's an ignorant cry. They are not aware of all the suffering. So amid all that, those trivial sounds, unimportant sounds, and this unchanging scene in the forest, it's the same every day, every morning. Savitri's soul rises up, facing, confronting time and fate. She gathers all her force, immobile in herself, concentrated. She knows, she alone knows, that this was the day when Satyavan must die.
She's a warrior. She is a warrior.
She's a warrior. Yeah.
But this is the question when living my life. No? I'm a warrior. But where is the limit? No? When I must change to renounce to be a warrior, to surrender. When when a master announces to be surrendered, become a warrior, no?
Yes.
This is a continuous,
Question.
like when you,
So this is the fierce question.
it's a really, it's a big question, no? Because you have a lot of energy in both. A lot of energy in the surrender, a lot of energy to the warrior, no? But the soul.
Yes, I think that's what we were reading about in the Life Divine yesterday. That it's only when the being has become fully conscious, living in the spirit, that we can clearly know the answer to this question.
In my life, I discovered that my best warrior is when is for other person. This is the best warrior.
And like Savitri, she's doing this.
Savitri doesn't do travel, no?
Sorry?
Travel, no? This travel. Savitri doesn't do this travel for herself. She does for
She's doing for earth and men.
So to be warrior.
But her own calamity, the knowledge that her own beloved husband must die, this is the sign of the evil at life's afflicted roots. That's what she's really come to change something fundamental in earth nature. But she's led to that mission through this personal pain. And maybe that's the way that we all face the cosmic questions and struggles. They come to us in a personal form, but that personal form is significant of the general human condition. We are carrying a part of the earth's pain, the universal pain. Yes, Sergei?
Maybe the same, the fell of Jesus Christ.
Yes, no, he also said, if it is possible, Lord, let this cup be taken away from me, you know. Yes. And he longed for human companionship and support. He didn't receive it. He had to face it all alone. And even it seems as if when he was on the cross and suffering that physical pain, he also had the psychological pain of feeling that God had abandoned him. No. Father, Father, why hast thou abandoned me? So that's this pain, cosmic pain. I don't think we'll start the next canto today. Anybody has any questions to ask from this whole canto? Now we have had 3 sessions or 4, no?
Shraddhavan,
Yes.
line 330,
Yes.
bound to his throne,
Yes.
he waited, unappeased.
Appeased. It's something that in religion we may try to do. We think that there are gods who are disapproving of us, who are fierce, who will bring us misfortune. And if we can make some offering to them, then they will feel more kindly towards us. They will be appeased, satisfied, and then they won't inflict too many disasters and difficulties on us. She's making this continuous offering now for a year, no? The daily oblation of her unwept tears, but that Godhead is still not satisfied. But I think this is such a wonderful description of waking up in the morning. And if we become a little bit conscious, we can notice these different stages happening. And the librarian of the ashram, Medananda, he was a very interesting man who had many provoking questions to ask. And to one of his students, he asked, "Why do you wake up in the morning?" And it's really a very interesting question. You can watch and observe and find out what it is that makes you wake up in the morning.
I can offer something.
Sorry?
I can offer something about
yes,
that.
What makes,
I don't mean
what makes you wake up in the morning,
Yes, but
Alice?
it was just one incident, which I don't want to shock anybody, but it is kind of shocking. But I feel inspired to share it. One morning, or one time, I woke up and I never had the experience before or since. But I was waking up from being naked in a gas chamber with all these other naked people in Germany in one of the concentration camps. And I feel that if I hadn't awakened from that dream, that the body wouldn't have
survived. This body would not have survived.
So maybe in that one...
But maybe this was a simple dream, Alice.
Yeah.
Maybe a memory, something that you've actually been through.
You know Joan Borysenko? She's a spiritual healer. I asked her that once. She's written many books. Spirit, I think she has high consciousness. She's this wonderful being. But I had the opportunity to ask her about that dream, what she thought about it. And she did say something, and surprisingly, she said, "Oh, you poor soul, carrying this and experiencing this," and she hugged me. I mean, it's very spontaneous, unexpected whole thing. But and so I feel that since that experience, as shocking as it may seem, helped me to just resiliently and persistently as possible continue, knowing that this is an experience which several million people had. No, it's part of the earth consciousness. Whether it's part of your individual soul history or not, only you can tell. But this experience was given to you, so it's linking you to that great cosmic love. It was a gift. Yeah. Yes. So many such significant memories or dreams or whatever they are. People say, "Oh, it's from another life." That might be the answer, but it's not the only possible answer. That's what she said. Yes. So shall we read these lines again?
The power that kindles mind was still withdrawn. Heavy, unwilling were life's servitors, like workers with no wages of delight. Sullen, the torch of sense refused to burn. The unassisted brain found not its past. Only a vague earth nature held the frame. But now she stirred. Her life shared the cosmic load. At the summons of her body's voiceless call, her strong, far-winging spirit travelled back to the yoke of ignorance and fate, back to the labour and stress of mortal days, lighting a pathway through strange symbol dreams across the ebbing of the seas of sleep. Her house of nature felt an unseen sway. Illumined swiftly were life's darkened rooms, and memory's casements opened on the hours, and the tired feet of thought approached her doors. All came back to her. Earth and love and doom, the ancient disputants, encircled her like giant figures wrestling in the night. The Godheads from the dim inconscient born awoke to struggle and the pang divine, and in the shadow of her flaming heart, at the sombre centre of the dire debate, a guardian of the unconsoled abyss, inheriting the long agony of the globe, a stone-still figure of high and godlike pain, stared into space with fixed, regardless eyes that saw grief's timeless depths, but not life's goal. Afflicted by his harsh divinity, bound to his throne, he waited unappeased the daily oblation of her unwept tears. All the fierce question of man's hours relived. The sacrifice of suffering and desire earth offers to the immortal ecstasy began again beneath the eternal hand. Awake, she endured the moment's serried march, and looked on this green, smiling, dangerous world, and heard the ignorant cry of living things. amid the trivial sounds, the unchanging scene, her soul arose, confronting time and fate. Immobile in herself, she gathered force. This was the day when Shraddhavan must die.